Check. Quick sound check. Can everybody hear us loud and clear? What's going on, Coach Paul?
Hey, Coach Jake, can hear you loud and clear. And welcome back at the Buzzers.
Welcome to our buzzer beaters. It is finally Friday. Happy Friday, everyone. Hopefully, everybody had a good day today. Welcome to At the Buzzer, our market recap. This is your first time here. The goal of this session is to review what happened in the markets for the day. We may talk about some markets that you have not traded before, but we believe our goal as traders is to identify opportunity. Want to see how we can take advantage of those opportunities while managing our risk. Bruno says loud and clear, so we are good to go. I'm Coach Jay, been a Topstep performance coach for 2 years, and that is Coach Paul. Coach Paul, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Coach Paul. I've been with Topstep since April of 2023. I've been involved in the futures trading industry for 4 decades. I'm here to share some experiences, some knowledge, and hopefully help you become a better trader.
Awesome stuff. Thank you for that, Coach Paul. You're all our chat, our audience. Thanks for hanging out on a Friday. I know I just came back inside and the weather is super nice. So we'll try to get through these markets. The recap, there was a ton going on in the markets today, and then get everybody out to the outside because we are getting some extended summer Fridays, at least in New York here. It feels like as soon as the clocks change, though, that's when that weather is going to change. So let's
Nature takes its course, whether we like it or not.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. All right, so let's get into the markets. As far as news goes, there were a ton of planned numbers out today. All came out pretty good or in line with expectations. PCE came in line with expectations year over year, 2.7. Forecast was 2.7. Month over month came in at 0.3%. Forecast was 0.3. Canadian GDP came in a little bit better than expected at 0.2%. Forecast was 0.1. I read that right. Consumer spending came in at 0.6%. Forecast was 0.5. Core PCE in line with expectations as well. Michigan sentiment came in a little bit lower than expected, 55.1. Forecast was 55.4. There was some news on tariffs. We got a big headline right here. Trump administration considering tariffs on foreign electronic devices based on the number of chips in each device. There was, some more tariff news as far as medicine goes. So a lot going on. Coach Paul, anything you have on the news?
No. Nothing that of any significance.
All right, let's get into the charts. There are 36 different markets we can trade with Topstep accounts. Today, to the downside, we had natural gas down 0.53%, corn down 1%, and wheat up 1.52%. To the upside, we had silver up 2.88%, micro Ethereum up 3.22%, and platinum, our biggest percentage mover to the upside, consistently now. Platinum trading above 1,600. It did roll over, so not all of that move was price action, right? Some of it we rolled to a new contract, but platinum still with a 3.5% day to the upside. You can see this gap here. That gap isn't actually there. That was because of rollover. But talk about our big four. We have crude oil up 0.58%. Crude oil looks like it's starting to break out here. The S&P up 0.63%, gold up 0.6%, and the NASDAQ up 0.46%. It is Friday, Coach Paul. So let's end the week with a weekly chart on the NASDAQ. What are we seeing here?
Actually, to this week's action is a blip.
It felt more dramatic while you're in it, right?
Right. I mean, that's pretty bullish. So the trend is still up. We had a little bit of a correction for various reasons, but still the flow is very positive. Is this the dip to buy? On the weekly, it looks very positive.
Yeah, this looks pretty bullish. Again, like Coach Paul just said, if you look at the daily candles, which we'll take a look at, it looks a lot more dramatic, but it was just 3 down days. We bounced. We found some support in the Fed candle. We closed above that candle. We talked about this yesterday, having the potential to kind of trade into that. Closed above it yesterday, closed above it today. This still looks pretty bullish here. Take a look at today's price action intraday. Overnight was a pretty quiet overnight session. My triple up here. Pretty quiet overnight session in the equities. I think part of that has to do with all the data that was coming out today. But what are you seeing on this 30-minute chart, Coach Paul?
It was still under the 200 moving average on the half hour. We had sideways action and light volume. It was a light volume day without any major events. And we just did what, stocks do, and they drifted higher without much conviction. It's just that here, I put it this way. You have that candle right there. The selling stopped.
Yep.
Yesterday on that high volume. Then we had an outside candle followed up, and we've held that low.
Yeah.
And really haven't found big buying, but the selling is stopped. So the big sellings. And we've held that, and now we're drifting. Today's action was kind of sloppy. But I mean, it looks good. For me, we get above the 200 moving average, we could crack that. We could get going again in a hurry.
Right. Going down to a shorter time frame, take a look at the news candle. To me, this is what really kind of set the tone for the day. Most of my trades, profit from the accounts that I traded today, were shorts in the NASDAQ. Gotta get this 618 level out here. But we had this news candle, and we talk about this often, right? Letting the news print first and then seeing the reaction from there. In this case, we got that news candle to print, no follow through volume. And one of the things we've been paying attention to all week is what is the market's reaction to whole number levels. 750, I'm considering a minor psych level just because it's in the middle, right? It's not a 800 or a 900. But 750, even still, the market needs to, market didn't trade it at all. So this is kind of a sign, especially after the news, that there's a lack of follow through. We have the New York session open right here, and similar story on the New York session open. We push up price wise. We had Michigan sentiment coming out at 9 a.m. Central Time, which is this candle here, this red candle here. And on this rejection, where that 700 was a tough level to kind of trade through, and not trading 750. To me, this was a sign that, hey, you know what, after Michigan sentiment, and I had to remind myself to try to be patient for Michigan sentiment. I will say I did take some trades after this initial, this 3-minute opening range open. First trade I did take was a long. I got long off of 50% of this opening range, looking for 700s. But looking at this as a range trade, because we have Michigan sentiment coming out, right? And that Michigan sentiment number has the potential to move the markets. So I took this as a scalp, took the 40 points out of it, and then said, wait for Michigan sentiment. And chat, I will tell you guys, Coach Paul, I wanted to short so bad, and I had to say it out loud. Wait for Michigan sentiment. Wait for Michigan sentiment. I sat here for 20 minutes telling myself, wait for Michigan sentiment. And happy I did, because I could have shorted one of these candles, and that's a 40-point drawdown before the market goes on that Michigan sentiment. So waiting for that number to come out, and then getting short from about 714, 711, I think the price was, for a nice trade. After that, I got chopped up in this range here, Coach Paul. We got stuck around 600s, low of the opening range. Tried to short for a continuation and just didn't get it. And I think I'm learning a lesson from Mandy. Use that trailing personal daily loss limit. You might see one of these on my account every day. It's a great feature to have.
Well, today's action was sloppy. I'll repeat that. If we look at that half hour after the opening, which was the Michigan sentiment, That was basically the range of the day. And it was, I mean, except we're making little new highs now on tiny volume. But that candle, I mean, everyone gets hit.
Yeah, it's a 200-point candle in 30 minutes.
Yeah. And then some follow through to the top of the range. But we couldn't even get a J trade out of there. I put that as two ships passing in the night. It's like, don't even know they're there. It was kind of random. So, but going back to that high volume low,
It held.
and then looking at that weekly, don't get caught in the, don't get caught, cover quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. On your shorts, yeah, because whoever stepped
Yeah.
in here, and they did it at a major level, right? They did it 24,500. Yeah, we ran it by 80 points, but this is the NASDAQ we're talking about. But this demand level held up pretty strong here. So is that a spot that I'm going to keep on my charts for next week? Probably. But yeah, that is some strong buying in this zone here. Jared says it in the chat. It looks like we're definitely going back to all-time highs after today. We're not far off of them. You're not far off.
Yeah.
Just over 1% off of all-time highs. So healthy pullback, possibly. Anything?
But Batman's still holding.
Yeah, he is. So you know what's crazy? You just put a VWAP on. VWAP like clearly shows the the head and shoulder pattern, right? Like,
oh yeah,
here's that wing. You got the flat top head. Pretty crazy to look at. See if I still have my S&P, my drawings on my S&P chart. Yeah, there we go.
Huh. But here's, and with that still in mind, I think, next week becomes important in this. It needs to recover and go. The more it stays here, even if it goes sideways, we're losing upside momentum. But we'll see on Monday. We only trade every day. I'm kind of frightened now
of this pattern. Yeah, this is a weird one. All right. Anything else on the equities you want to cover, Coach Paul?
No. We're really
S&P is right at 6,700. Kind of stuck at that level.
Yeah, but outside day there
in the S&P.
Oh no, I guess that was the weekly. What was just up? Because it looked. Look at the weekly.
What did I have? I think I had a 30-minute. Yeah, it was a 30.
All right. But let's start with the weekly. I mean, what's bearish about that? Let's turn it upside down.
Yeah.
New lows coming.
Yeah,
trend is still on. So yeah, boy, much the same as NASDAQ. It's not over.
Yes, it is.
Analyze.
Take a look at the Russell on the weekly. Very same story. And the Dow. A lot of indecision there in the Dow. Wow, look at that.
What? That's balance. Now, with that said, we found balance at all-time highs. That doesn't mean anything right now. Mark the low, this week's low, though.
Right. In the Dow, 46,098. Wow, the Dow weekly opened at 46,605 and closed at 46,601.
Lower for the week, price-wise.
Lower, right, but by 0.03%. A whole lot to do.
When's the last time we've had something like that?
I don't know. On the weekly, it's been a while. the Dow seems like it does it a lot. There are a lot of
There's one.
weekly dojis on the Dow where the week is less than 0.1% move, which is pretty crazy. Does that happen in the other equities? Yes, it no, it really doesn't. I'm not seeing many dojis.
Well, the Dow is the grandfather of them all.
All right, let's take a look at gold here. Gold on the weekly. This looks extremely bullish as well. Uh, made a new all-time high this week, 38.2460. We made new all-time highs in all these markets: the S&P, the Dow, NASDAQ, gold, all new all-time highs. New all-time high here in gold on the weekly. Coach Paul, new all-time high close. What are we looking at?
Onward and upward. More gold. When do we hit 4,000?
We are just over 5% off of 4,000 in gold. Silver was not an all-time high. Coach Paul had pointed this out. That what year was that, Coach Paul, where silver made that all-time high?
1980.
1980.
And then it did it again in like 2011, I think.
So
I know every time I dump I like to buy silver, hold it when it gets up to 50. So it's almost there. I don't know. This time might be different. But yeah, 50, right around $50. But when I first started, silver was being cornered by the Hunt brothers. I don't know if anybody's ever heard this story, but it's a true story. The Hunt brothers were Texas billionaires in 1980. They own their family owns the Kansas City Chiefs. They were wildcatters. The big story. They decided that inflation was kind of like today, that inflation was going to continue, that holding dollars was the road to ruin, and the best way to go was to buy silver. And they bought, I mean, in $1980, they bought like $1 billion worth of silver.
a lot of money in
Some
1980.
work with the Saudi royal family. But the bottom line is they made a mistake. They didn't buy cash and corner the cash. Acknowledged. And even that doesn't work. I don't want to go off, but trying to corner market it's truly a stupid thing to do.
Coach Paul, go off when you want to. The chat likes story time, so go off whenever you want. I know it's Friday. We said we were going to make it quick, but do what you got to do.
Story time. I should get in my big leather chair and light my pipe of tobacco, of course. And so they decided to buy silver and corner the market. And they took silver from what it was, a base of like $6 to $50 in a year. It was insane. And like I said, what we're seeing with gold, it's like gold going from 1,000 to 10,000. And they did it. The biggest problem they did it is that they used the leverage of futures. Now,
big wins, big losses.
Well, you have to buy the cash if you want to corner it, because the futures are a derivative, and they were over leveraged. And by the way, the CFTC and exchanges forced them. They couldn't force them out, but they closed the contract declared an emergency and said it was liquidation only. they're the long. They literally were the long. And silver. So when I started, I was marking a board. It dropped, I think, $18 in 1 hour
Wow.
in the front month. The other months were locked limit.
And these were
But the
big
front
contracts.
month
These
had
weren't
no
the minis
limit.
that we're trading here.
Yeah.
Wow.
But big lesson was, I'll never forget it. I was marking, this is when I very first started. I used to mark the board $50 to $49. The ranges were insane. The ranges were like $7 a day. And that's 5,000 ounces. At the mid-am, it was 1,000. It was huge. It's really big money. This can happen again. That's why price, when we accept what value is, when it's outside of value, it doesn't matter. At that moment, if you're a trader, that's the price you're trading. It can get out of control. And it did. But for that, the lesson is this. There's never been a market that a corner attempt that's worked. Because if you do, like especially in commodities, at one point you have to sell.
Got to get out.
Realize profit.
Yep.
The moment you go to sell it, who are you going to sell it to? Everyone, there's no one left.
Right.
And it happens. I've studied it. But the other one was very dramatic. It was kind of in the same environment we're in today. But yeah, it ruined them. They did. Their sister saved them, who is now like the owner of whose son is the owner of the Chiefs.
Oh wow.
So the Hunt brothers in the
Trade
corner
futures, and maybe one day you can buy a football team.
If you're dead. Well, there's another old saying: is the best way to make a small fortune in the commodities.
Yep.
Start with a large one.
Start with a large one. That is right. All right, let's take a look real quick at gold. We took a look at the weekly, look at the daily. Pretty much the same, little consolidation, little flagging pattern maybe here. Balaji in the chat says our gold analysis yesterday, Coach Paul, was on point. We were talking about this trend line here from the all-time high. And if we break above it, maybe using that as a support. And that's kind of exactly what happened. We got above that another trend line, which is that 200 moving average, consolidated around it last night. And we made an attempt at the all-time highs. 38.1440 was the high of the day. 24.60 is the all-time high in gold, which I'm going to think that we probably take out sometime next week, right? We're talking about 4,000s here. Consolidated for a while before that the data came out this morning. But once that data was out, gold said, all right, let's go. It is time to move to the upside.
Yeah. And you know what? It took some time because it played around with that 200.
Man, did it.
Now, when you're using the 200, when you look at it, it's rising.
Yep.
So it's like trying to catch a jump on a boat that's moving from the shore or from the dock. Better be good.
You started breaking up, Coach Paul.
Oh, not again.
Uh-oh, they tried to take him out.
No, didn't like what I could say.
Coach Paul, I don't know if you can
Hear me
hear
now?
me, but I'm kind of losing you here. Maybe you want to reconnect.
Yeah. Let me try one thing. Shut one of my charting packages down.
All right, there we go. I got you now.
How about now?
Yep, sounds good.
Yeah. I just got a call from Kansas City Chiefs ownership. Not to repeat that story ever again.
Right. Hey, we heard you were doing story time. Cut it out. But yeah, we consolidated around this 200 moving average for a while. Uh, every day this week, and I know we've been saying it, London gets the best prices. I was up this morning. I could not sleep. I have a couple of accounts that I'm trading with Topstep, and on this XFA, I was buying down here, and this consolidation made that trade hard to hold. I guess I could have went back to sleep, but when you wake up at 3, 4 a.m., you don't go back to sleep. In my experience, you stay up. So I was cleaning my place, went to the gym. And we're still trading the same prices. So I'm like, okay, I'll take the profits because I don't want to hold the number into all the data that's coming out. But ultimately, it was the right trade. But that consolidation was pretty tight. Once that data came out again, we see a really nice rally. But closing under 3,800 though, which is interesting for now. That whole number might not
Yeah.
mean anything. I think we see all-time highs next week. Uh,
All right.
anything else you got in gold, Coach?
No, that's it.
We go. Let's take a look at crude oil, which is getting interesting here. A weekly in crude.
Yeah, it's a micro. It's funny. It looks like the daily, the beginning of the week. It looks like the half hour, probably like the 5 minute. It's just, but we did finish this is the highest weekly close in a month, right?
Yeah, almost 2 months. Yeah, highest weekly close in 45 days, 49 days.
Um, yeah. So look, in the short term, looking positive, turning, but we're still under a lot of pressure. But starting to see, I believe, some short covering. Um, there's still whispers of possible actions in the Middle East, war actions, and they're whispers. So I won't repeat them. If I was given the information, I wouldn't repeat it.
Right.
But there is that in the background. So you want to be short. If I'm short, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
But prudently, I think there's some short covering. Let's look at the daily, and there's that area we were talking. We're there.
Yes,
We
we
did
are.
trade above it for a short, and it got if mark that level because it was interesting. It really, you can see it was short covering. It got busy,
Yeah, it did.
but it didn't hold. And on a Friday, I don't, it doesn't surprise me, but we looked at that, and there were stops there. Look at the volume spike once we got there.
Yeah, seriously. And there wasn't really a catalyst or anything like that. No news
No,
headlines or anything. That was just this is a range we've been in for in 2 months. Somebody had some stops up there, and in a logical spot, right? Hey, if the market can trade below this, then I want to be short, and if not, I'm out. But not the convinced buying that we see that sustains this move, at least for now, above that price. So we will see. Interesting stuff in crude. I've been reading it wrong all week. I've been looking for that short, and the market has just not been agreeing. But luckily, if I've taken any trades in crude, I think they've been scratch at the worst. Uh, Scratch at the best. I don't think I made any money trading crude at all this week, but I don't think I lost any either. And trying to sell it
not
all week, I'm gonna take that as a win because this market is just grinding up.
yeah. Well, it's trending up. It's grinding,
Yep.
which is the sign of short covering. Um, but yeah, I was watching it, and I don't usually look at the time and sales or the DOM. When that took off, it was stops because there was about 5 cents in that it traded a total of 17, 22 at a price while it was going up. So they couldn't, from my experience filling orders, they couldn't find an offer that was fit their size,
Right.
which is a tell of stops, because that stop becomes a market order, just, and then they can't find someone to buy it from, and they have to bid it up, which was exactly what happened. Then we came back to that area. So we'll see if we can continue. I'm feeling friendly to it, but that's usually the curse.
It is. All right, we did it. We went over the big
And
four.
by the way,
Yeah, go ahead.
Alex, I got to give a shout out to Alex. He noticed that we coordinated our outfits
Oh, yeah.
today.
It's called team chemistry right there. We didn't even have to talk.
Yeah, it's our uniform.
Team chemistry is telepathy. Hey, you wearing
Yeah.
all black today? Yep. All right, let's do it.
I got the message.
This was not planned, but everything's planned. All right. We went through the big four. We got a couple questions I see in the chat. One cool rattler says, how do you handle a day where you finish green, but you realize you overtraded because you gave some money back to the market? I finished green for the week, 1 red day, 3 green days. So are you considering it overtrading just because you gave back money, right? Would you consider it overtrading if those trades ended up being profitable? The way I manage a day where I finish green, but I realize I gave back some money, if ideally the money that I gave back was measured. And today, for example, that was exactly what happened in this account. This loss, the $600 loss here, was measured. I was reading the market really well. I wanted to continue trading. And I said, if I'm going to continue trading, what I'm not going to do is give back all the work that I've done for the work that I think I'm going to, do in the future, right? We still got to secure some of the profits that we make. So if you want to avoid giving back a huge day or giving back, consider a percentage, right? What I like to do is look at maybe a percentage of a normal daily loss limit. So let's say my daily loss limit is normally 1,800. I'll risk a third of that on a continued trade. I don't want to have a daily loss limit day in the middle of a profitable day, right? I want to try to avoid that as much as possible. Because we don't get to yes, the clock stops and starts every day, but really we should be looking at our trading accounts, Coach Paul, over a quarter,
Yeah.
right? A year maybe. And I think we get so zoomed in on one given day that it's just just because the calendar changed over, it's still the same account, right? So I don't want to have those big P&L swings. If my daily loss limit is, again, let's say it's $1,000, I don't want to lose $1,000 at any point, right? Whether I'm up or down. So that's how I would look at it. If you feel like you overtraded, consider why. Were you just trying to make more money, or was there actually a good trade that set up? Anything you add to that, Coach Paul?
Right there, I just want to further that. What if you overtraded? If you think you did, how do you measure that? What are your benchmarks? The one way I look at it is you have to have a trading plan, a consistent plan to enter and exit and take risk. It has to be consistent. And I think in your gut, you understand you weren't being consistent. But your gut can lie. Go back. That's why journaling will come in and help you. If you're following a trading process, you can identify it in 4 steps. So why it's important, if you really are over trading, means you were trading on impulse. And
Yeah.
you need to identify that. And the fact that you're even saying that means you understand.
Yep.
Now, to go ahead and crystallize that so you can benefit from that is begin by journaling. It's really a really important thing to do.
There we go. There you have it. Let's see. Any other questions that we have here? Courtney has one. Considering September is historically the worst month of the year, all of the indexes did really well. New all-time highs for all four. I wonder if the money on the sidelines will get put to work in October. Possibly. Possibly. Rich has one more question, and then we probably wrap from here. Can we talk about the DOM and big orders and what would normally happen? For example, 100 on the bid in a downtrend, would that be a turning point? Not necessarily, right? If you're looking at the orders on the depth of market, there are patterns in those orders the same way there's patterns in the candles, right? Which makes sense because those orders are creating the candles. And the filled orders specifically are creating those candles. So this week, Rich, for example, if you, I don't know how many people do this. I might sound crazy that I do this sometimes, but I'll go back and watch uh, segments of fast markets. Right. Sometimes this is like my back testing. I'll watch segments of fast markets, and I don't do it as much anymore because I've tried to spend some more time off the charts. But if you hear, somebody call out a big order, watch how the market responds to it, right? Because sometimes, and this week specifically, we started the week in the S&P with on the close on Monday. The close on Monday. What was Monday's date?
22nd.
All right. So on the close on Monday, a 2,600 lot filled on the offer. I think that person was happy. It filled up here, up near 6750s. So whether they were selling to open or close a position, whatever they did there, whether it was a hedge, the hedge is working, right? If I sold 2,600 contracts up there, the hedge is working. If I sold to open a position, I'm really happy with my profits. If I was getting out of a position, which we probably wouldn't see on the DOM, then I'm happy as well because the market sold off. But sometimes those orders are going to get filled, and then we see follow through. So it really depends on the personality of the market. In this case, the rest of the week, we saw a couple of 1,000 lot offers, which is passive selling in the S&P. And there were a few times where the market ran away from those offers, which is telling us what, Coach Paul? If somebody's selling 1,000, hey, I got 1,000 to sell, and you don't want to buy them, what do?
You can not either enter
Right.
or sell, go the other way.
Or you might even pull your bid. You pull your bids. You could pull your bids,
Yep.
right? You could say, hey, they're selling, so I'm going to sell in front of them. And that's kind of
Yep.
what we saw the market do this week. Those 1,000 lot offers did get filled eventually, but the market's response to those was, hey, I don't want to buy that. So then if we think about it, if somebody has to sell 1,000 and no one wants to buy it, what do they have to do? They have to find a price where somebody's willing to buy it, and then that's when we see price move lower. So the market's response to those bigger orders are going to tell us a lot. But yeah, if you watch it, and I give JD shout outs all the time. JD, you're gonna have to come on the show because you're basically like an honorary member of it. But
Yes.
we talk about the tape a lot, and there are patterns in the tape that if you watch it, if you watch the DOM, if you watch time and sales, if you watch Bookmap or something like that, you'll start to recognize those patterns and how the market responds. It's not always going to be the same. Okay. Anything else you want to cover, Coach Paul, before we go, or do we send everyone into the weekend?
Well, I have to give a shout out to Coach Hoop. Hogs making contract highs. So this weekend, go out, get some bacon, some pork chops, put them in the freezer. This is a pretty bullish move in the hogs.
Yeah, it is. Wow, look at that. First cattle, now hogs. All our
Well,
food is.
think about in there. And this is commodities. And we've talked before. Commodities are different than financials. Financials, you can just, or crypto, if you have the power, you can just create more. Magically, you cannot magically create more food. And we've talked a lot about cattle, and we feel the shock when we go to buy a steak or burger meat. But at one point, it becomes, well, what's the alternative? Well, these pork chops at $5 look better than the steak at 15.
Right.
So the choice that goes from, okay, you will, some of that demand gets put to other protein choices. I imagine chicken is rising, and I imagine, well, but the alternatives. So kind of not surprising with hogs, but that chart looks kind of looks like the gold chart,
Yeah, it does.
pig gold.
Or cattle. I mean,
Yeah,
this has
cattle's
quietly
even just
been
more
I mean,
extreme.
we haven't talked about this much, but look at since August, this market is up 15%. Oh, true. I always see you in the chat yelling about the cows.
He's a farmer.
We need
He's an all
to.
around.
I know what Hoop's Halloween costume is. Old McDonald. Uh, all right. Yeah, nice there. And maybe just getting started. Hard to say that when we're up 15% in 30 days, but interesting.
Yeah, the pigs have been slower than cats. There's more pigs, but great call. But finishing at all-time highs, I know that tells me first thing I can do is this weekend is go buy some pork products and put it in my freezer. The ultimate micro contract.
Right. Go right to the source. All right. I got nothing else, Coach Paul. Anything else you want to give to our traders before we go?
Enjoy the weekend, and as always, plan for next week, but trade your plan and plan your trade.
There we go.
We'll see you on Monday.
Enjoy your weekends, everyone. Like I said, I look out the window. It's still nice out there, so I'm going to try to get outside for a little bit. If you got to review your trades, take a little bit of time this weekend. But don't stay locked in the lab for 24 hours. And then I used to I used to do this a lot. Would study everything over the weekend, and then as soon as the market opened, instant loss. And I'm like, damn it, what did I just do this weekend? I thought I just studied everything that said to not do that. Sometimes there's a law of diminishing returns, right? You can spend too much time at your desk. Get outside, enjoy life. Thanks for joining. If you haven't done so already, hit the thumbs up button. I do not believe Coach Hoop is doing his class in Discord. So make sure you join Anne Marie for the market kickoff on Sunday and Dakota for slow markets on Sunday as well. Have a great weekend, everybody. We will talk to you all next week. Bye.
Bye.